rural Maine. It is as rural as it gets. He employs locals. He lives pretty modestly considering how unbelievably wealthy he is. I mean, not only was his biological mother wealthy, his adoptive mother was also incredibly wealthy, an heir to the Swanson fortune. And he lives in a rural part of the country in a modest home. Like, it just, you would expect him to live in like a mega mansion in Beverly Hills or something, but that's not the case.
In Florida, he has 2 homes in Boca Grande, one purchased in 2020 for $2.9 million, and another next door purchased in 2022 for $5.5 million.
I know that you guys covered, I think, more substantive elements of it, and thank you for doing that. We're not gonna do that in this coverage, okay? Because I actually want to kind of get myself on record saying what I think is gonna happen in 2028.
Interesting.
Big prediction. So without further ado.
Can't wait.
Let's get into it. I heard that speech, and by the time I finished listening to it, I thought to myself, he's gonna run for president. That was a presidential speech.
Really?
Yeah.
No, that's literally the last thing on my mind.
Really?
Like, I would never do that.
I asked Tucker Carlson a question he didn't expect while I appeared on his podcast, and I thought his full answer was, well, interesting. What about you, Cenk?
Yeah, I don't believe him. So it's okay. Look, guys, I'm, as now most of the internet knows, I'm not on the camp of purity tests, and so the fact that Tucker Carlson has a correct position on Israel is wonderful, and it.
Can we start saying that, like, maybe purity testing white supremacists is a good thing? I know it's such a taboo word, right? We always hear this as like, I'm not one of the purity testers or the woke scolds or any of that kind of stuff, all right? I'm not gonna get at you for not using the right pronouns or something like that, but.
And the speech that Anna was referring to, some parts of it I disagreed with, but the part about Israel was not only true, but important. Somebody needed on the right wing to say what he said, right? Like, enough. Nobody's interested in hating Jews. So you're not gonna be surprised by this. I think Tucker's gonna run. I think Tucker's has been, let's put it this way. If he is not angling to run, he is accidentally going on the exact path you would go on to run in 2028.
Totally agree with you. And in fact, when I say that the speech he gave at Turning Point USA sounded like a presidential speech, it wasn't just what he had to say about Israel or foreign policy. Take the whole speech and the entire message in that speech, which was Americans cannot afford to have children. They can't afford to buy homes. Why is invading Iran or going to war with Iran the priority here? This shouldn't be the priority. So a lot of people hyper focus on what he had to say about Israel because of the fact that he said what is incredibly provocative in the context of a conservative conference. But if you take his whole speech, the message was about, we need to focus on the American people. The economic situation here is brutal for us. And I agree with him on that message. Now, let's give you the exchange I had with Tucker with more context so you get a sense of what I'm talking about. Take a look. I heard that speech, and by the time I finished listening to it, I thought to myself, he's gonna run for president. That was a presidential speech.
Really?
Yeah.
No, that's literally the last thing on my mind.
Really?
Like, I would never do that. No, I mean, unless I was like told by a higher power or something, but no, I don't think I'm suited for that.
Something I've been thinking about a lot.
Is that not terrifying to anybody? Unless I was told to by God himself. Like, if I got tapped, obviously I can't say no to the Lord our God. If I hear his voice in my head and he tells me to do things, I have to do them. You understand, don't you, Anna?
Of course, I don't want that. I have a lot of happiness and balance in my life. I have a huge family. I'm the oldest male in that family, so I feel like I have a lot of things I'm paying attention to. I have dogs who I really love. So no, like, nothing about that is appealing at all. And I've never had any political ambition of any kind, and I have even less now.
So maybe you guys can all critique me for my selective hearing, but I only heard one part in his answer, and this is the part I'm referring to.
No, I mean, unless I was like told by a higher power or something.
He's gonna run for president, Cenk. He's gonna run for president. It's so obvious to me. He is. He's gonna do it.
So look,
Why are you excited? That would be terrifying. You understand that, right? He's a white supremacist. Like if a white supremacist is openly like, oh yeah, I'm not only going to run for president, but he'd probably have a pretty good shot because of a lot of other factors, you know, including fucking his ability to manipulate vast amounts of online media, his massive fan base, the fact that he may be able to position himself as someone who is, you know, yet again another fake anti-war Republican. It would be a horrifying prospect.
These days, he's very focused on his faith, and so that is the kind of thing that somebody who is going to run later would say, right? So again, we don't know. We're all guessing, right? And we're honest about what we know and what we're guessing at, right? And so, and then I want to talk in a little bit about his potential competition on the Republican side and then the Democratic side. But look, as an atheist, I don't get that out of like, well.
I think it was 2 years ago that they were doing.
I can never assess my appearance. I wait for my postmenopausal fans to weigh in.
If we're going to talk about sex, I'd love to hit some of the fine points of technique. You know what? I'm not qualified on that score, I will say. I thought his girlfriend was kind of yummy.
Media Matters for America has been publishing these leaked tapes. The only people that would have access to that footage are employees over at Fox News.
So it's either an employee or the company itself. I don't like these leaked videos that are totally taken out of context. Tucker Carlson is massively guilty for the things he says on air. They're smearing Tucker publicly to say, you see how he insulted you guys and he called you old women? So come back, everybody.
How about 3 years ago? That was 2 years ago. I want to see what it was like 3 years ago.
During an appearance on Fox's The Five, Tucker Carlson weighed in on the possibility of having Democrats on his show, and he claims that they're not in favor of coming on his program. Democrats hate coming on his program. They ignore him like the plague. Why? Well, he explains in this next clip.
You've obviously interviewed a ton of fascinating people, both sides of the aisle. Who would you most like to interview again if they would take your call?
Oh gosh, that's such a great question. There's so many people. I mean, honestly, I'd like to interview anybody in Democratic leadership. I'd like to interview a Democratic congressman. No one will talk to me. No one will come on the show. You're a white supremacist. We're not talking to you. Really? No, I'm not. I just have different ideas from you. Why are you calling me names? It's not even real. Just come on and talk to me like a normal human being. You and I talk all the time, have for a long time. We disagree. It's not that hard, it's fun. But they won't come on.
We definitely disagree. And most of the time it is fun. I'll talk to my people, I'll try to get you a congressman.
Well, look, I don't think we need to adjudicate his white supremacist status. I think it's abundantly clear in the way that he talks about immigrants, the way he talks about black people, the way he even talks about just poor people. I mean, he calls immigrants dirty. Like yeah, he's a white supremacist. Like we don't even need to debate that.
Well, I mean, today I don't think we're doing this video. He's in the news for going on some other Fox show and talking about how Democrats are importing violent criminals to change the demographics of America. That's just the great replacement thing. So we don't need to make the case he's a white supremacist. He eagerly does it every single day.
But let's also be clear about the type of Democrat or the type of person he likes to have on his show who to the general public is perceived as someone who doesn't agree with Tucker Carlson.
Okay.
No, he has people on his show specifically to bolster his arguments. He doesn't have people on his show to disagree with him. And whenever he does have people on his show who do disagree with him, he cuts the interview short. We've seen it happen over and over again.
Rutger Bregman.
Yeah.
I believe if I remember his name. He came on.
What 3 years does, you know? I agree with Anna Kasparian and her take. It's very clear, concise, and true. He's a white supremacist. He brings on people who agree with his core tenets and beliefs. And wow, so I guess like what changed?
He disagreed with Tucker. He was so articulate and so effective.
Figure. He's certainly more intelligent.
This is Richard Spencer, one of the most notorious white supremacists in the country.
He at least has a kind of open-mindedness in a way that Bill Riley never would.
Spencer isn't the only professional racist giddy about Tucker's show. Here's David Duke, former Grand Wizard of the KKK, tweeting, "God bless Tucker Carlson." And here's the white supremacist website Daily Stormer calling Tucker literally our greatest ally. So what the hell is going on here? Why are white supremacists so excited about Tucker Carlson?
Well, you know what? I would love to answer that question. And our wonderful producer, Shwarya, has put together this fun compilation that can answer it for you. Let's take a look.
Yes, white supremacy is America's biggest problem. And as we've noted many times before, we still don't know, despite fervent and sincere efforts to find out, what a white supremacist is. But the whole thing is a lie. If you were to assemble a list, a hierarchy of concerns, of problems this country faces, where would white supremacy be on the list? Right up there with Russia, probably. It's actually not a real problem in America. Two defendants, Lisa Eisenhart and her son, Eric Munchell, should face indefinite detention. Now, neither Lisa Eisenhart nor her son damaged any property at the Capitol or committed any violence. They just walked in to what we used to refer to as the People's House. The Democratic Party is trying to replace the current electorate, the voters now casting ballots, with new people, more obedient voters from the third world. But they become hysterical because that's what's happening, actually. Let's just say it, that's true. What's happening at the border is not a crisis. A crisis is a flood in Bangladesh. It's an act of God. This
feels really horrifying if this dude wants to run for the president and, dare I say, maybe even become the president of the United States. Kind of scary shit. Because we're already seeing what an absolute fucking disaster a person like Donald Trump, who you could say is, yes, absolutely an avowed now white supremacist fucking fascist, but like he didn't have a long documented history prior to his foray into Republican politics of being quite this overtly every single day I gotta like espouse white supremacist talking points. He would do a lot of racist shit. Donald Trump has a monstrously huge history of racist stuff prior to his run for the president, but he tried to at least soften his image, right? He tried to be like, oh, I'm the least racist person you've ever met. Yeah, don't ask about my, housing complexes or my discrimination towards black people or the numerous racist things that I've done in my past. I'm not racist, not whatsoever. Meanwhile, this dude is just openly like,
this is an intentional act. This is the administration bringing felons, violent criminals into our country on purpose. Why would you do something like that? Only to destroy it.
He's such a garbage person. I like floods in Bangladesh. It's an act of God. I mean, I guess he's trying to say it's not something that was controlled by humans, except, I mean.
He's trying to imply that, sort of a natural outgrowth of the past few decades of our foreign policy in Latin America leading to people trying to emigrate into our country is somehow something Nancy Pelosi cooked up a couple months ago, I guess.
He thinks that allowing immigrants into the country is something that Democrats want because they're looking for obedient voters from the third world. No, I'm sure, like, he's not a white supremacist at all. No. Is white supremacy a problem in the country at all? I mean, it's right up there with Russiagate, right? I can kind of.
This is just wild too, because like TYT didn't take any of this down, obviously. They're not ashamed of this like arc, right? They're not ashamed of the change. Because like otherwise you openly be like, yeah, in the past we may have said some things that disagree with our current dynamic, which is that it's important for us to have conversations with people we disagree with, even if they happen to be people who some others have said are extreme. I mean, we don't personally view that. I mean, I think he's going to run for president. I think it's hilarious. He's going to run for president. You know what else she was doing was downplaying something that's pretty important.
Look, just seeing. But one of the main reasons why I decided to go on his podcast is because I'm curious about him, right? Like we see him in the media, we hear what he has to say.
Right. Yeah.
But it's entirely different to get to experience it for yourself. And he lives in rural Maine. It is as rural as it gets. He employs locals. He lives pretty modestly considering how unbelievably wealthy he is. I mean, not only was his biological mother wealthy, his adoptive mother was also incredibly wealthy, an heir to the Swanson fortune. And he lives in a rural part of the country in a modest home. Like it just, you would expect him to live in like a mega mansion in Beverly Hills or something, but that's not the case, which I thought was interesting. Now, look, just
that is interesting because it's also just ridiculous. From the Vanguard Boys, Tucker lives in a modest Maine home, super rural. Insane that Anna Kasparian is doing this dude's folksy propaganda for him and omitting that Tucker owns 2 Florida mansions. The main property is literally a glorified studio for a show to impress people like Anna that he invites on. Have you seen the shots of Tucker Carlson when he's like in front of like wood and lumber and he's dressed sometimes in like plaid And he's just sitting there, and he's like, "This is just my garage." Yeah, and this is where I do my work. And you're just like, yeah, but that's not you, right? Like, it's a thing. You're pushing a persona on everybody, the common man, you know, the working class American who just wants to build things with his own two hands and work with wood and all that kind of stuff. Tucker Carlson owns multiple properties, including homes in Florida and Maine. In Florida, he has 2 homes in Boca Grande, one purchased in 2020 for $2.9 million, and another next door purchased in 2022 for $5.5 million, which I guess, yeah, that makes sense, right? Like when you own one house, that's a $3 million home. You gotta buy the neighboring house for $5 million. That way, you don't have to worry about if your neighbors turn out to be one of those undesirables moving into the neighborhood, so that kind of shit. He also owns a home in Maine near Bryan Pond, where he bought a separate building to potentially use as a studio. Oh, so it's to just fool rubes. And I don't know if Anna is the rube here or if she thinks her audience is. Because, like, you can determine which is worse. For you at home, if you're a TYT fan, you're sitting there. I have been watching TYT for, you know, a number of years, and I've watched countless segments where TYT, you, Anna Kasparian, have actually said out loud, he is a white supremacist. He has said many things that white supremacists say. He is a vile, racist piece of shit. So that's been what I've learned from you. But then a couple years go by, and now the Republicans and the far right are in complete power. America is moving towards a more fascistic agenda. It seems like you are aligning yourselves with that to some capacity. And now you go on his show, and you want to talk about how he's actually kind of misunderstood. He seems to be kind of just like a humble guy. I mean, like, he comes from a lot of wealth, but it hasn't really changed him. You know, the Swanson fortune, you know, that Swanson family. Yes, the heir to the Swanson fortune is Tucker Carlson. He's just like a commoner, like the rest of us, you know? And that's why maybe one day if he runs for president, we can hopefully align ourselves just ahead of time this time, you know? Like with Donald Trump, I guess they didn't try and get on the train in time. They've kind of tried to position themselves after running an unsuccessful presidential campaign where Cenk was like, Donald Trump is a fascist. He's a fascist. He's a fascist who's going to push a fascist agenda. You need to vote for me. Give me money. Vote for me in case of emergency. I'm an emergency candidate. He's a fascist, and we got to stop him. We got to do everything in our power to stop Trump. Trump wins. Okay, so Trump's actually a populist. The MAGA movement is populist, and he knows that if he doesn't actually do populist policy agendas, then you know, his base will go after him. And you know what? That's the new future. I'm going to position myself as someone on the left who also wants to collaborate and work with the people that I was calling fascist every single fucking day. And now we're all going to work together, and I can get over there and, yeah, I mean, I'm going to work with Charlie Kirk. You can go over and work with Tucker Carlson. Here's Dave Rubin describing the strange racial dynamic in Tucker Carlson's Florida enclave, where he actually lives.
Russell, you were quite right about the strange racial dynamic over at the Gasparilla Inn, and every moment you're there, it becomes like more and more bizarre.
Yes, it's difficult to deny that there is a sort of a near 100% white customers, black staff.
Jillian, have you
Kind of seems like the kind of area a white supremacist would love to live in. Could you imagine? That sounds ideal if you're a white supremacist. Wait, what are you saying? There's an area of the world that I can move into where I get to feel like a plantation owner? Where all of the staff are black, but all of the people who live there are all white, and we get served upon by the black people? Well, that sounds incredible. Wow. Maybe I'll invite my friends over. Dave Rubin, Russell Brand, come over. What do you think about my lovely home? I thought it a bit weird though, right? Thought all the people serving you, all the people thought it black, thought you, a white man. Oh, it's a weird racial dynamic, is.
ever been to this place, Gasparilla Island? It's
No.
So it's Southwest Florida. That's where Tucker lives, actually. And the Gasparilla Inn is like their like elite place. And I just did this event there last night, and the staff was 100% black, and the clientele was 100% white. It was like to the point that it was like extremely bizarre.
Like, you're getting called out by fucking Dave Rubin. Serial nonce fucking Russell Brand are like, look, it's gotta be honest, all right? Like, we're all for the agenda, so to speak. But like, this one was a little weird. It's just a little weird that Tucker Carlson specifically moved into a neighborhood that was 100% a white community where all of the staff in the local stores and shops and houses are exclusively black. It's a weird racial dynamic. Quote by fucking Dave Rubin, of all people. Tucker Carlson is too racist for Dave Rubin.
Extremely
uncomfortable. Yeah, you're like, okay.
Yeah.
Weird.
And Russell,
even Russell Brand's like, oh, weird. I win, mate. Oh, yeah. Well, good job, Anna. Great job collaborating with white supremacists and fascists who you were proud to call out in the past, but now they're just friendly people who want to have conversations.
Don't let this happen to you. Go to serfscoffee.com to order the only end-to-end owned indigenous coffee company that delivers blood-free, conflict-free, and cruelty-free beans right to your door. 0% of people who drink serfscoffee.com have exploded spontaneously. By ordering right now, you get 10% off plus free shipping, and it's the best way to enjoy delicious coffee while not exploding. That's serfscoffee.com, serfscoffee.com.
Thank you so much for watching, everyone. This video wouldn't be at all possible without the financial support of all the people whose names you see on the screen right now. And if you want to unlock secret bonus episodes, content that we can't post anywhere else, or get the videos early before anyone else gets to see them, please go on to patreon.com/theserfs. For as little as $1, you can help support this channel and help make more videos like this possible. Our executive producers are Anna Loves Riley, Adrian McCarthy, Bobby Lasers, Cheryl Alvarez, Comrade Junkie, Doug Caddy, Everything Important, Garrett Sandoval, Hagbard Celine, Jimmy Sombrero, Multimondi, Omni, Political Papi, Preston Kroll, Quiet 185, Richard Boehm, Riley and Anna, Roller Dragon, Cernicus, Stellar Gwyn, Sebastian Demel, Tigwig, Trav, and Words Greenwood. And also, it wouldn't be possible without all the names you see on the screen right now. Again, if you want to help produce this content, it's only made possible through the funding of our patrons. Head on down to patreon.com/theserfs. That's Patreon.